count that, or in some situations, I actually take out the appraisal if it's not a true comparison under
Sure.
normal market.
And what surprises me is that it's almost exactly the opposite of one another. And that's the only reason I addressed it, and that's not why I came here, so just thought I'd bring it to your attention. Thank you. I have a piece of property that is located, it's a vacant piece of property located between Southern Oak 2nd Edition, Elk Street and South Street, and the value of that went up from $281,900 to $325,800. I am a little surprised about that because I don't feel that, well, there's a number of issues, and one of them is I'm still not used to the South Street, Willow Street corner, and as far as the access to the property in our development, I feel that that was definitely something that made our area less accessible. One of the other concerns is the number 3, they closed the crossing, so again, it has somewhat of an effect on access to our property. Building lots dropped, I don't know if it was 50%, I think some did, but I guess I would like this just reviewed and see if you can justify or help me adjust that. The value of it is, I'm surprised the value even stayed the same as 2009, and here there's an increase of $44,000 to 2010.
How big is that lot?
I would say it's about, I'm going to take a stab. Without the street, it was a little over 10 acres, but then it was, the street was put in, Elk Street, so it's probably a little under 10. And there's nothing buildable on the property until it's developed and
Is this being farmed currently?
a little bit, yeah, it's being farmed.
Is
There's a
that
couple
why
of,
it has, because it's an outlet, do you know if it has building eligibility?
it has no building eligibilities.
So it's basically ag, for ag purposes right now?
Yeah, that's what it's being used for. You can help me, you bet.
Could be zoned residential, it could be built upon easy plat.
Plants it, correct.
Yes.
But as it sits now, it's, until he's planted it, it's.
It's soybeans and corn, whatever.
Yeah, I would have to take a look at that.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor for this to go to a meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. It's unanimous. Okay, who's after Mr. Schmidt?
Matt Fade.
Good evening. I've got a property at 117 West Main Street, and I've already had Terrence come out and walk through it. My issues are, in '08, I was valued at $113,000. '09, I went to $168,500, and I went to another $10,000 increase this year to $178,500. I understand that you don't take into account auctions, foreclosures, but at the same time, that is in reality what's happening, and that's what our properties are worth when that's what people can buy them for. The building across from me sold in the mid-30s. So my property in 2 years went up $65,000 in its value, but a building of similar size only sold for in the middle $30,000 range. And I find a hard time justifying that. There's also a building directly across from here that has been on the market for 420 days. It's got more square footage than I do, and it's listed at $122,500. There's also a building on the upper block that's about the same square footage as mine that's been on the market for 85 days with no walkthroughs, nobody interested in the property, and that's got an asking price of $145,000. So my question to you is how you can raise my property in 2 years $65,000, $55,000 last year, an additional $10,000 this year, when there's a number of buildings in the downtown area that aren't simply being looked at and they're asking a lower asking price.
I can comment on that. After looking at Mr. Fady's property, we determined the value to be $175,000. That's a mixed-use deal. There's an apartment upstairs and a bar and a storage garage on the main level. value increase from 2007 to 2008 was based on the sale of property. It sold for $275,000 in 2005. So the increase was related to that. There was some questions on whether, what was exactly personal property or business value in the $275,000. And I did ask for some additional information in relation to that. If you looked at the certificate of real estate value, it didn't indicate, it just had the $275,000 as a sale price, and it didn't indicate business value and or personal property. Therefore, I went through and I did this property on all three approaches to value. Looked at other sales in the downtown area. Did a cost analysis, the best I could. I mean, it's an older property and it was built in 1900. That's what our records indicate. And then also
I've actually traced it back into the 1890s. But not to interrupt you there for a second, but you've based it on other sales. You based it on sales that we talked about in '07. How about the properties that are on the market for sale now that nobody will look at for lesser amounts?
I haven't had a chance to look at those properties or anything called.
But those are the ones that I talked to you about when we talked on the phone. And I've also contacted my lawyer as far as real estate certificate of purchase, and he did indicate that he did not split it out. He's looking for the documentation. Obviously, when you're buying something that's already established, there is no downtime, there is no remodeling. You're buying a business, you're buying the inventory.